Hey. Hello, how's everyone? Good evening, Dragonoid. Yep, Dice Punk. Yeah, may all blessings find their way to you. I don't know if this actually works, but yeah. Hey, Dice Punk. Hey, Joe. Hey, everyone. Yep, that's a red god hand. Yep. Hey.
So, welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm Second Soundwave. I'll just be hanging out here today with MJ.
Yep. Welcome, Second Soundwave, to the stream, and yeah, I actually meant the voice channel within my server, the one called streaming.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll jump in there right now.
yeah. Let's let's see if the thing actually works. Shame. I tried to make an avatar.
Yep.
Hmm.
You can just drop the PNG I sent you into
The
OBS and just put it in the corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah, I was gonna explain to how to set up the whole thing that I do with like the syncing up the lip flaps to the what I'm saying, but I don't know if that could be set up very quickly.
That technically should be able to be set up, but yeah,
I've never done it before with two voice audio feeds, so I have no idea if I could isolate it so it would just react to me talking, or if it would be going off no matter which one of us is speaking.
Yeah. I'm gonna figure things out. What are you working on today?
Today I didn't really have something I was planning on building. I'll probably grab something right now actually, or I'll just work on some other non-gunpla stuff while we're chatting.
Yeah. I'm gonna be working on the Qubeley Papillon, like one of the final builds before I have to pack.
Yes, that's an interesting choice of kit. That was a very old model, and even when it came out 10 years ago, that was an absolutely ancient kit.
Yeah, I I knew the original Qubeley Papillon, like the original Qubeley is old, but I never expected never expected it to be one of the first few high grade Universal Century kits.
1999.
Yep, 1999. And I think because of the real grade Epion that I may or may not be able to pick up because it's in September, I am going to be picking up a Qubeley Mark II, the new one. I found it for a very good price, and I just need to pull the
High
trigger
grade.
on it. Yeah, high grade Universal Century.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm waiting on that. That's one of the few builds that I think I am going to be waiting on. building after
I remember.
I'm settled down. I know I'm all over the place figuring out this code.
Right, right. So what are you trying to set up?
I'm trying to set up an avatar that just lights up.
Right, right. I use a program called PNG Tubi when I'm using it. It works pretty well, but I don't know if it would be able to isolate my voice from yours. Because it doesn't base it off the Discord call, it bases it off the input from the microphone.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna put the avatar there.
Yeah, I think that'll work fine.
Yeah, that should suffice for now.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah. Image. An interesting thing, I actually got the Qubeley Papillon for quite a good deal at a sale. Like a month ago, I think. Over a month ago.
All right.
So
Yeah, that's not a kit that I would pay full price for.
yeah, it was priced at 80 Hong Kong dollars, so yeah, I had to jump on it. And yeah,
Let's see what that is in American.
about 10.
Oh,
I
it's like
think.
$10. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
worth it.
about
That's a $10 kit.
Yep, absolutely. And since I just so happen to have a ton of that's the fan. I just so happen to have a ton of build stuff on the schedule. So like future video schedules. So yeah,
That's good.
I can just bundle them all up in October and November, December, just the build months.
Yeah, now's a good time to stock up on Build Fighters kits if there's anything you're looking for, because Bandai is reprinting a bunch of them because of the new Build Metaverse show.
Yeah,
there's a lot of rare build kits from both fighters and divers that are going to be getting reprints in the next few months.
I saw people talking mostly about the Argyagya. Like people are very much looking forward to that.
That's a kit I really want to build.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm also really glad to see the Grimoire Red Beret get a reprint.
Oh
because I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that
the
kit.
Grimoire Red
And I
Beret.
always want to recommend that kit to people, but I feel so bad doing it because it's basically available nowhere. But it's a really, really good kit.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're in the chat right now and you don't have that kit, buy it when it gets reprinted. That is an awesome model.
Yep, yep, it's absolutely an awesome model, and plus it's G-Reco based, so why the hell not? I would actually want them
It's
to
such a creative reuse of that Grimoire mold too.
Yeah.
Like, who looks at a Grimoire and is like, man, this should be a scope dog. But they're absolutely right. It works so well.
This should be a scope dog that has 2 backup heads.
Right?
Yep.
You can army build them and use different heads for each unit.
Yeah. And plus, well, just take novelty that is based on G-Reco, honestly. Because they rarely reprint those nowadays. Now I know I have a lot. Yeah, I have a lot of them in my slate of videos, but that's mostly because nobody is buying most of them. Like I have the Montero, the Dalhak, the Jastama, a lot of those on my slate because nobody over here was willing to get them.
I found that the G-Reco kits have kind of looped back around to being rare again because the problem is that, yes, no one bought them at first and they sat on sale, but once they eventually sold out, Bandai didn't print anymore, so now they've kind of looped back around to being rare again.
Yeah, it's kind of like the case of post-mortem popularity, I feel. But
or even if it's not like generally popular, if you are one of like the 12 people that wants to get a G-Reco kit right now, you're gonna have a really hard time finding some of them just because they're not available.
Yeah, absolutely. It applies 99% of the time, but I saw a store here that really wants to get rid of their Cat C and Elf Bullock, and I thought I really want to put them out of their misery, but I just had a lot on my plate, so yeah, I'm gonna pass it up.
The Elf Bullock's kind of a cool design.
Yeah, the Elf
Those big
Bullock has a
blade
cool
legs.
design. Yeah, blade legs. And from the very same sale that I got the Qubeley Papillon from, they sold an Elf Bullock mass production type for 120 Hong Kong dollars. So about a little $15, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
Mass
good.
production colors were yellow, right?
A a gray on a mustard yellow or something like that.
Let me see. Okay, yeah. It's like a kind of bluish gray with some yellow accents.
Yeah, and apparently Bandai's camera hates them because the preview photos look nothing like the kit.
All right, I'm gonna see if I could find some in-hand pictures of it then, because I'm looking at the official images.
Yeah, because like if you've seen my video, like, and if anybody of you seen my reviews recently, I've been an absolute stickler for color accuracy, and yeah, the official photos genuinely look nothing like the actual kit, because the kit is actually spot on, while the...
It's weird when Bandai gets the colors wrong, because usually they're pretty accurate.
Yeah, well, in the case of the mass production of Bullock, it's just their cameras acting up, so it's nothing freaky when you get the actual kit, if you decide to get it, because it's like $70 or something on Amazon. So
right.
Yeah, but when it comes to accuracy...
Well, apparently it is the one single kit from G-Reco that Schizophonic didn't do a review of.
Yeah, even from Japanese sources, the information is scarce on that kit.
He did the Mac Knife mass production. He did the G Self Reflector pack, but no Elf Bullock mass production.
Apparently. So yeah, I put it on the slate. It will be up eventually. So cool. Yeah, I have a ton of videos prepared for when my person is away. But there's been one thing that I've been discussing with a lot of people when it comes to color accuracy, which is the G-Witch kits. Like...
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this about the beam sabers?
It's not about the beam sabers. The beam sabers, I will combat anyone who say that they're wrong, because it's more so an unseen feature. Like, people say that the Aerial's blue beams are incorrect. That's not true, because the green beams are the training mode, if you want to call it, the school safe mode, while the blue are the actual combat ones. So I would actually classify that as an unseen feature.
It's not incorrect, but it's still, if you want your kits to look like they do in the show, most of the time they're in the school safe mode.
Yeah. And
the thing you have to think about is, even if they release alternate like P Bandai versions that have the correct effect parts, it's still going to be really annoying for people in the future, because it's going to be another build divers or IBO situation where it's going to be a pain to collect the kits in the future, because you have to get all these option packs and limited things to get the correct versions of the designs.
Yeah, that is fair enough. The Aerial Permit Score 6 actually comes with the green beams, so that might have satisfied someone, but that's the reason why I opt to name the actual beams in the reviews, because if you want to go pick up something like green beams for the Darubald, so you just go ahead and pick any kit that has the green SP13 beams, and more often than not, like kits like the Bagheera Pente have a leftover green beam, so you can steal that for your own use. But the main problem with...
They should really, in the, since they already have lines like the 30-minute missions where they'll do, like, option sets with, like, different colored lenses and different colored, like, explosion effects, they should just do a beam set that just gives you all the different colors of sabers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, with Witch of Mercury coming out now, this would be the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just provide us with a set of, like, rainbow colors and then clear so that we can paint them whatever we want.
Yeah. Like, it would be literally zero new tooling. They already have the beam saber mold. Just pack a bunch of them in different colors together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, there's also the custom beams from, like, the Dilanza and more the up-and-coming Schwarz. Yeah, those beams can be packed into there as well with different colors, because, yeah, on the subject of the Schwarz, the beam is actually more it's in pink instead of the show's blue, which is more inspired by the Ippei Gyobu art more than anything. If anything, the actual kit is more inspired by the Gyobu art entirely. So yeah,
which is fine by me. I love his art style.
Yeah, it's fine by me, but for those who want anime accuracy, yeah, the pink beam is definitely gonna bother someone. So I'm not going to say for sure.
It's always frustrating when it's unique effect parts, too, because you can't just grab a saber from another kit.
Yeah, absolutely. those are like the most annoying. So for like people who wants to create the Dilanza in the final few episodes of G-Witch, that's gonna be a bit of a pain.
So I've actually not seen the second season yet. Watching through season 1 as it was airing was kind of unusual for me. Typically, I like to wait until the season is over and then marathon everything at the end. So probably in the next week or so, I'll be getting caught up on Witch from Mercury. I will say, though, I have been watching the kit releases, and I really like that the Caliburn seems to be like its own unique Gundam. Something that I've been criticizing Gundam for a lot in the last decade or so is that we used to get like an entire new Gundam for our main character halfway through the show, right? Like Kira would go from the Strike to the Freedom, Camille would go from the Mark II to the Zeta. They'd get like a new Gundam halfway through the show.
Yeah.
But then for the last 10 years, it's just, oh hey, Barbatos to upgraded Barbatos, Build Strike to upgraded Build Strike. It's like they don't give us those new halfway through the show Gundams anymore. So I was really happy to see that Suletta actually gets like a new Gundam in Witch from Mercury.
Yeah. Albeit, yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere, personally speaking, because, well, the Caliban was hinted to be the predecessor of the Lefrith, especially based on the blurbs that they put out. But hey, it worked in the show until the final moment, which we will not spoil. Like, we should abstain from spoiling it for the sake of the people who did not see the episodes
Even if I
yet.
had been caught up in the show, I probably wouldn't be talking about it much just because the episode literally just aired hours ago.
Yeah. But the kit, thankfully, I didn't need to do anything to fix it.
I will ask this though, I've noticed the last like 3 or so kits from Witch from Mercury have the same just really flat, drab monochrome color scheme. Is there some in-universe explanation for that, or is that just them being really bland?
It isn't just 3 kits. Like I've been tallying them up. There is at least 10 of the 24 previous kits. Some of them I can explain due to lighting. Like Choo Choo's Demi Trainer, you can explain that it has the lighter colors because of the 6v6 duel, and same thing goes for the Bigger Penta and the Michaelis. They have drabber colors because of the lighting. The Demi Trainer, maybe you can explain that as well, but there is just absolutely no reason for like the Heinrich Sturm to get the wrong frame color or the Lefrith Ur and Thorn to be completely botched in that case. So it's a very odd situation on that front.
Yeah, I mean, even aside from color accuracy, I'm more talking about how like the Calibarn and the Schwarzette and the Gun Volva, they're all just like white and gray, and then they just have little color accents from the frame, and I think that just makes them kind of needlessly drab. Like, I get it for the Gun Volva. I know it's like a mass production unit and it's supposed to look very generic, and I think that works, but for the Schwarzette and the Calibarn, they're good designs from like a visual like silhouette standpoint. It's just the color schemes for them are so drab.
I personally like the cleaner look of the Calibarn because it's more like a prototype design that lost to the Lefrith. So yeah, I get that they just basically pulled.
Okay, so that's kind of the in-universe reason for it looking like that.
They just pulled it out of the vaults just so Suletta has something to
sense.
pilot. But the Schwarzette, there really isn't any reason. It's just designed like that, and and there's 2 forms in the series. Like, why there isn't any need to have like a prototype form and then the final Gundam form? It's just odd.
So the Schwarzette's piloted by Guel, right?
No, but I won't spoil it if you didn't see the episodes yet.
That's fine. So, if the character that's piloting it has previously piloted another mobile suit, I kind of wish that the color scheme of Schwarzette was more reminiscent of that suit, because the flat monochrome colors are not super appealing on it.
Yeah, but although the 2-tone shell units do look good, I'll be honest here.
I think the shell looks. I've seen the open folded form when it's not just a giant brick sword, and it does look pretty nice.
Yep, the 2-tone shell units do help it a lot.
It's got that nice kind of New Gundam asymmetry look to it.
Yep. Only 30-minute missions did energy weapons. Yeah, that's what we're saying. They should do something like 30-minute missions and give us different colored beams for our own purposes.
Or even do it in the 30-minute missions line. Like, they kind of are treating that like a generic option parts line for general mecha kits, so just give us a bunch of beam sabers.
Yeah. I think some of them do use beams though, but I don't know if they're.
They do.
I don't know if they're printed on the standard beam plates or just their own custom runners. So
I'm pretty sure the 30-minute missions beams are just standard gunpla beams.
that's interesting. So we can get teal beams for whatever use we want to put it. Yeah.
I'm gonna once again check Schizophonic real quick and see some of his 30-minute missions reviews to see which kits came with the beams.
Yeah. Only Forestry models. Yeah, that's the one I remember. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. A little bit pissed off from discussing G-Witch with others because we're just butting heads most of the time, but hey, I'm doing fine otherwise.
Where is... I'm just trying to find where Schizo puts his 30-minute missions reviews.
It's a bit
Okay, I think I
confusing to
found it.
navigate, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's lots of sub-menus.
Yeah.
So which model did you say was the one that had the beams?
The Forestry. I'm reading
Okay.
chat. I'm just reading chat.
I'll Oh, Forestry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Forestry. Forestry. Oh. And just as G-Witch ended, we got new Seed stuff. So the new series, not the new series, the new Seed animated project is called Gundam Seed Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saw the trailer.
yep, it's just a snippet, a compilation of previous clips, so there's nothing much to go by, but that's the main reason why they are reissuing a ton of
Is it
Seed
just-
stuff as well.
Is that actually just old footage recompiled together?
I feel like it is. Like I've seen those from Seed and Destiny before.
Okay, because
But
I saw
these-
people in the comments like gushing over how amazing the new animation looked, and I was like, I don't know, this kind of just looks like old Seed footage.
But the CG Jins are those? Yeah, the CG Jins, I think. Those I think are new. But the rest of the footage is most likely recompiled. Because it's mostly just a teaser to say that this thing is gonna be coming
Yeah.
next January.
It's basically just a name announcement.
Yeah, it's basically just a name announcement, a little bit of a peek into it.
Well, now wait a minute. I'm looking at the Forestry now, and I don't think these are gunpla beams. They might have the same hole size for the connection, but it's not the same beams like shape.
Yeah, that's what
They're
I was.
very stubby.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like they may have molded them into the original runners, kind of like they
probably
did back in the early 2000s. G, which show ultimately disappointing, and I'll leave it at that. Thank God you're not one of those in the echo chamber.
Where is... So does Dalong have reviews of the 30-minute missions kits?
I haven't really checked Dalong.
I'm not seeing them under etc. M. I don't think he does.
That's a shame. But
Yeah, because he has runner photos.
yeah. I think we should
I'll
be
just
able to
check Hobby
find
Search
it.
Japan.
Yeah, hobby search will have them, but they're in back, so kind of how to get around that.
30-minute missions. 30-minute missions. Huh.
What's happening now?
No, I'm just looking at the. I'm looking at this hobby search. I'm trying to find the 30-minute missions kits on there, and they have the markers, but not the kits.
There you go, Equable Sword. Just looking at chat. To compensate, the Witch for Mercury kits are good though, except for the fact that half the line is color inaccurate. But I'll leave it at that. The engineering is actually good. By the way,
I wonder if it could just be like weird color grading in the actual episodes. Like it could be that the initial designs are accurate to the models, and the show just has weird lighting.
No, I actually compared it with the line art, the kit to the line art, and It's
It was
just that
still inaccurate.
it's inaccurate.
Hmm.
Most likely because some of them based it off of the show's lighting for one particular scene. So
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
yeah, that's where I was going. But genuinely, the Lefrith Ur and Lefrith Thorn had no reason to be inaccurate, and they just completely botched it.
That's
So
interesting because you would think, because the models have to be made quite a bit earlier than the show is, so you would think that they would have more easy access to line art than they would to actual like production stills from the finished episodes.
yeah, and funny thing is, the CG renders, while not exact in color, are closer to the line arts compared to the actual kits. So who knows what went down between those?
Hmm.
New G-Wish kit is coming. Yeah, there are 4 this month, including
Yep.
Premium Bandai.
It
So
feels so weird to get more than one kit in the same month.
it's not exactly, but having 4 from the same series is
Yeah.
a little bit overwhelming nowadays because we often get 2 at most.
Yeah. It was so crazy looking at the Gunpla releases from like older years. Like there was a time where we were getting Thunderbolt kits, Origin kits, IBO kits, and HGUC kits all in the same month.
Yeah. And now I don't know if it's because of 2020 or that there is genuinely no material they think it's worth making, that they just stuck to 2 Gunpla releases per month for whatever series they are focusing on.
Yeah, I feel like it's the there's all sorts of justifications people have come up with for it, and I feel like the longer it goes on for, the less and less valid a lot of those become.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's just Bandai. I feel like Bandai is trying to phase out portions of Gunpla, or at least minimize a lot of it, because they really have so many opportunities to make new products that it seems like if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. It just seems like they are picking yeah, they're picking their targets to make the most money. Like G-Witch actually made them more money in Gunpla
Oh,
compared to all previous years. So of
Mhm.
course they're going to
Yeah. It
focus
was
on that.
massively successful.
Yeah, it's massively successful because of multiple
But
different
Bandai's
factors.
also proven that they have the resources to maintain a kit line for a show while also doing everything else that they normally do, because they've done that for 20 years. So,
Yeah, except they threw all of them into P Bandai,
yep,
which is
everything's premium now.
yeah, which is a massive shame.
Yeah, and the problem with P Bandai is it's not just a availability issue, it's not just a pricing issue, it's a quality issue, because a lot of these P Bandai kits, they just aren't as good as a retail kit would be, because they don't give a P Bandai kit a lot of times the same budget that a full retail release would have.
Yeah, I can second that, but I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. But
The two biggest examples I can think of are the Lord Astray and the Geminus, where they just don't even feel like high grades. They're just such cheap models.
the Lord Astray did the bare minimum. I will attest
Yeah.
to that. And should they want to reuse it, there's the Lord Astray Z, so hey, there you go. But some of the more exemplary examples are the Gundam Rose and right now the Deadside Hell. That
Yes, I don't know what happened with the Gundam Rose, but they gave that like 1.5 times the budget of a regular
It's-
retail kit, and I have no idea why.
it's ridiculously good.
It's to the point where I kind of suspect that was supposed to be a retail kit.
Yeah.
I bet that was made with the intent of it being a retail kit, and then they made it P Bandai, and they felt bad about making it P Bandai, so they threw in a bunch of effect parts, because there's no way that was meant to be P Bandai.
Yeah, considering what they did with the Wing Boy Band.
Yeah, I 100% was expecting the Shuffle Alliance to get made just like the Wing Team, where we'd get over the course of a couple years each of them at retail. So
Yeah.
this was probably a very last-minute thing.
I would suspect so as well. If any, like, but the quality paid off, I would say. Still, throwing it in Premium Bandai is a little bit of a shame.
It's interesting because there's a lot of people saying Pale Rider in the chat regarding like kits that were P Bandai that weren't as good as a retail kit. The Pale Rider wasn't even a P Bandai mold. That was a brand new mold kit that was made for like the collector's edition of a video game, and they just re-released it as a P Bandai kit. So that's even below a P Bandai budget.
Yeah. And I often like to look at the bright side of things, like whichever stickers are necessary evils, I'll let them be. Like the glowing vents of the Pale Rider, of course they're just gonna be necessary evils, but
It's got two different colors.
it's got two different colors. It's got trims that they can't separate in a high grade budget. All of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I kind of would let that pass.
I feel like if they gave the Pale Rider another crack, they could get a lot closer with the color separation, though.
Yeah,
It's not going to happen, though, because I've noticed that Bandai tends to be averse to remaking kits that they've already sunk a bunch of variants into. And with there being 7 or 8 different versions of the Pale Rider, I don't think we'll see another Pale Rider kit for a while.
not a new mold at the very least, because there's still the VG and the Dullahan.
Oh yeah, they're going to keep reusing the existing mold, but they're not going to make like a Pale Rider, revive or something.
Yeah, absolutely not. But let me give you guys a teaser of the Gundam Death Scythe Hell, because I completed it today. I was going to record it until the episode dropped, and then personal business. But the Gundam Death Scythe Hell, as we have seen from the Live Last Heaven leftover parts, it's crazy. Like the head trim, like the trim design around the head, the helmet, that's completely color separated.
Yeah, I think it benefits a lot from the fact that the Death Scythe was a brand new retail mold, and also a lot of the Death Scythe Hell parts were already made for the live lance, so they were able to have like the narrower like P Bandai budget and make it go a lot further because they didn't have to make as much new material.
Yeah, but at the same time, the seam line right down the arms is a little bit of an eyesore, not gonna lie. And the stickers, by the time I list them off in the review, it may divide opinions. That's all I'm gonna say. But the general kit of the Death Scythe Hell is actually pretty good. So, yeah, depending on your availability, I would say go for it.
So to respond to Goofy on the comments, the reason that the characters from G Gundam are called the Shuffle Alliance is they each have a title as a fighter that is based off a different playing card. So it's like shuffling a deck of cards.
Yeah, and I speaking of which, I really wish they would put out the actual Shuffle Crest Gundams, but that's not likely gonna happen ever.
Those are some funky designs. I feel like that would be a stretch from Bandai.
Yeah, it would be a stretch, but it would be very cool. Like, we've even seen the King of Hearts itself cameo in Gundam Build Fighters. What more do you want?
I think I would be happy if they just do like the main 5, and then maybe high grades of the Spiegel and Rising, and I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I would be happy with that.
That's fine. It's more a pipe dream than anything, I admit.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of amazed we got Mercurius and Vayate as high grades.
Yeah, the Mercurius and Viate, yeah. But they are major players in Gundam Wing thrown into P Bandai, so I'm a bit 50-50 on it.
And they used a lot of material from the Leos, so it was an easier make for them.
Yeah, and then spawn the Suivan versions of them.
Those ones are really cool. I love the doubled up weapons on them.
Yeah, the doubled up weapons, and you can make the the Mercurius Suivan Kai, where you combine both loadouts. I forgot. It's the blue one. So yeah.
Man, that red on the head does not need to be stickers. That could have just been a separate piece they just pop on there.
Yeah. That's a bit of a shame.
Is there any red new runners on this kit, or are all the red part stickers?
I don't think so. All the red are just trims, which are fine, but the V-fin is nah.
They could have thrown an extra red runner in there.
They could have thrown, because they didn't use multicolor runners for a time, especially during the early to mid 2010s. So they could have just thrown one single red plate in there that just has the V-fin.
And you have to remember, this is first generation build fighters, so the build series hadn't really proved itself yet. So their budget for these kits was basically nothing.
Yeah.
Like, these were some very, very low budget kits compared to what we get now with like Re-Rise, where you're getting all these new molds all the time.
Yeah. Speaking of which, a perfectly good segue into Build Metaverse, because I really want to discuss that with somebody at least. Because I
think some of these kits look awesome and some of them look okay.
Yeah. I'm not really that interested in the F Kunoi Kunoichi? Yeah, the SD Gundam that is kind of based on the Zeromaru. Not really.
I'm not interested in it because it's like an SD kit. I'm not a huge fan of those, but I have to give them full props for maybe that is one of the best pun names I have ever heard in Gundam. That is like an actual 10 out of 10 joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope someone got a bonus for coming up with that. I really do.
Yeah, the F9 of 1.
Yep. F9 number 1 Q no Ichi. That is so high IQ. And also combining together the silhouette formula with cross silhouette as well. It's like a double combo.
Yeah, double combo. And I'm glad they actually brought the cross silhouette line back for that.
I was so hyped when they showed off that Tornado Gundam at the Next Phase project because I really thought Silhouette was dead, and that would have been a shame.
Yeah, I thought Silhouette was dead, especially when they put out the what is it as the EX standard aerial. Like come on, that should have been
standard for the aerial.
That should have been.
That was really disappointing.
Yeah, that should have been cross silhouette. All things considered.
Aerial would have made a great cross silhouette.
Well, maybe we'll get an aerial rebuild.
Maybe. I mean, that's what they did with Barbatos. They did the Lupus as a BB Sentry, or no, they did the Lupus as an X standard, and then they did the Rex as a cross silhouette.
Yeah, the Rex is a cross silhouette. And now we're in July we're gonna get the Banshee Norn, which was as far as I remember announced a long time ago, but then just shoved to the wayside until now.
Yes, I thought it was canceled because there was a time where they showed off several cross silhouette kits. They showed off the Freedom, which we eventually got. They showed off the Banshee, which was canceled for a very long time, and they showed off a gray prototype of the Efreet, which I don't think we're ever getting.
Well, we'll see. We'll see next year. We'll see until next year.
I feel like I just can't imagine them doing that one because it's not even the Efreet Kai from Blue Destiny. It's literally just the standard Efreet. And as much as I love the Efreet, I just can't see current Bandai making that.
Then that's gonna be a little bit dodgy. Because, well, I think the most famous Efreet, if not Code Fairy, is the Efreet Kai. It's the Efreet Custom.
Yeah, that's the one you'd expect them to do.
Yeah. And
I mean, I think there's an old BB Senshi of the Blue Destiny Unit 1, so at least you'd have something to display it with. It just felt weird to me when they did the Efreet Kai as a Re 100 and there was no 1/100 Blue Destiny to go with it. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this, you know?
Yeah. To have one and not the other,
yeah,
it's a bit odd.
Especially when the antagonist is the only one they make.
Yeah. Who am I supposed to fight?
Yeah, I mean what's up with that? I'm just getting caught up in the chat real quick. Bandai cutting costs for HG is funny though. Yeah, there's some cost cutting in there, unfortunately. I wish that Bandai would stop treating polycaps like there's something to be avoided. Like they genuinely make a kit better.
Yeah, on some instances, like exactly the Gun Vilva.
Yep.
Those joints.
Oh, someone in. Oh, go ahead.
The ankle joints. God.
I've heard about those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I've heard some iffy things about the kit. I still want to get one anyways, just because that is like the perfect generic Gundam.
Yep.
It has that same kind of style as 00 and Age because they had the same designer, and it just. I've seen people put literally any option parts on it, and they all look good. And it's the perfect base for a custom.
Yeah, and I've seen people turn it into the Keratin, which looks good. And somebody pulled a Cerebi 3G with that, I believe. It's
just a perfect encapsulation of that aesthetic for Gundam.
Yeah, but the main warning is sand down the ankle joints because those are gonna break if you don't.
So someone pointed out that they should make high grades of the Gundam Castor and Pollux from Operation Galarest in the comments. Are you familiar with those designs?
The Gundam Castor and Gundam Pollux, yeah, kinda.
I came across them in an art book recently, and I looked them up. I kid you not, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Castor. It looks exactly like the Lotus Stray double rebake. Like, they literally just took the Lotus Stray double rebake and were like, hey, we're just going to recycle this design completely. They look exactly the same.
I think that's more the Gundam Diaz and this Gundam Scurry. Yeah. Because the Gundam Diaz and Gundam Scurry have literally a transforming mechanic where it does a lot of
But
complicated
like
stuff.
the spikes look the same. It has the same parts on it. They shuffled some stuff around, but I think it's even got the same flip around head gimmick. Let me see if I can find the line art.
I guess I found
Gundam Wiki's been doing this weird bug recently where it won't open images. It just refreshes the page.
so it's not just my issue. On
No,
my
I've
end.
been having that problem with fandom Wikia sites for like a week now.
Ah.
I think I have the art book downloaded here. I'm gonna look at it in there. But yeah, it was made by Junichi, who's the same guy who made the Lotus Ray, and it literally looks like he just recycled every idea he had for the Lotus Ray for this.
Yeah. And especially the transforming gimmick.
Yeah, it's funny because it was really funny looking through his art book because it's like 50% my favorite things ever from Gundam, and then 50% the things that I don't like about Gundam. Just all from the same guy.
Just completely mixed.
Yep. It's like on one hand he made some of my favorite Gundams of all time, and then on the other hand he's also responsible for that kind of over-detailed modern Seed aesthetic that a lot of the master grades have that I'm really not gelling with
Oh
at all.
god, the the Eclipse. Is that the same
Not
guy?
even I don't even think he did the Eclipse, but he does the redesigns for the kits, right? So you know how like the Calamity and the Raider Gundam and the Freedom 2.0 and the Justice and the Providence have that really like hyper detailed look to them?
Oh god, yeah. The master grades,
He made
right?
those designs. Yes, he made those designs.
They basically got
So he took the
Gyobu'd.
original designs for the show and he redesigned them.
Oh god.
And he also did the redesigns for the G unit high grades.
So that's what's going on.
Yep, he's the guy that does that. It's his fault. Junichi Akutsu. But he also made the Astray, so he's not all bad.
He's not all bad, but damn, especially the Aesculapius, the high grade.
Yep.
After calling the Aesculapius is way too ambitious for its own good. Like sometimes there are some parts where I feel like the old one just has the new one.
And I think the problem is just a lot of times with those kits, whether high grade or master grade, the problem is just that the level of surface detail just exceeds what the part separation of the kit is able to do, and it just makes it almost makes the kit look worse because it's giving it too ambitious of a design for the kit to pull off.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like the what is it? The Yokohama Gundam is exactly that. Like it's way too detailed for its own good, and the smaller scales have to have their missing, like some of the dark gray panels be painted in yourself.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Gundam caster in the art book right now, and the head is quite literally exactly the same as the Lord Astray rebake head.
Yeah,
it has the same shape, it has the same flip around, it's the same thing.
The Gundam caster, I think it's its own thing, but I can pick up on the design cues that you mentioned. I think the mechanic was more inspired by the Gundam Diaz and Gundam Scurry, because they're literally the same unit. Gundam caster and Gundam Pollux are separate units as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with having a like a different mechanical designer lead a new project that's in an existing timeline is sometimes the units just don't even look like they belong to the same world. Like, you can't look at the caster and Pollux and be like, oh yeah, that looks like it belongs in the same universe as Gundam Wing. They look like Astray kits. Like, they look like they're from Seed. They don't look anything at all like anything we've seen in the After Colony timeline.
Yeah, the only thing that you could pick up that they are from G units is their naming schemes. Because
Basically, yeah.
Castor and Pollux are the twins of Gemini. So
Oh yeah, like I like that they keep the naming convention, but design-wise, like they don't look like they're part of the same universe.
yeah, that's the naming convention is the only thing that you could pick up on that they're from the same series.
And I don't even really dislike them as designs. I think if they were like from like Seed Cross Astray or something, I think they'd look totally fine. But it's just they do not look like they belong in Gundam Wing.
It sounds like the exact same issue I have with the Engage Zero.
Engage Zero is a weird one. It
Yeah.
almost looks like a Reco kit.
Yeah, it looks like a Reco kit, and I would have been fine with the design. Like, I love the asymmetrical skirt, I love the feminine look. The big boosters, not so much, but that's an option pack I can omit easily. But the fact that they try to lump it in with the GP series, even when they class it as dubiously canon, it's just not rubbing me the right way.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that it's not canon.
Yeah,
I'd say that part's pretty definitive.
Yeah, it's not canon, but it's still in the record. So yeah,
And I can see, I can see why they would wrap it in with the GP series. It has a little bit of that look to it.
it has a little bit of that look, but well, it's a GP prototype they're lumping in with the Blossom that coexisted, so it doesn't rub a lot
so
of people
they're trying
right.
to tie it in as a. I was thinking it would be like a GPO5 type thing.
It's
but
not a
it's not.
GPO5,
It's
it's a
like an early one.
GP00. It's a GP00.
Oh, so it's like coexisting with the Blossom.
It coexists with the Blossom, and combining their data together, you get the Engage Gundam.
Yeah, that's super weird. I'm actually not a huge fan of that.
Exactly why I'm not a huge fan of the setting myself. Like, if it's anything but a GP series kit, then sure, I love the design.
Yeah, it's just, man, I don't know. It's such the whole Engage Zero thing is the UC Engage like storyline is just weird.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm looking through the designs right now, and there's some neat stuff in here, but I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I'd kill
I
for
feel
a
like there's a little too much like shoehorning of things into already very busy parts of the Gundam timeline.
When have they not done that? The whole Red Giants thing is also, yeah, another unexplored area of the 1 year war. We're talking about the third MS team.
How many incredibly important and completely unrelated and unheard of things happened during 1 year?
I am not sure. I genuinely am not sure, especially because we have seen the third MS team in the 08th MS team.
Wait, did we?
We did. At least we got it mentioned. I remember seeing a Jim Ground type with a number 3 on the shield. I don't know. It was at least mentioned, but not.
But I do remember mentioning 1 or 2 other MS teams, and honestly, considering they had 9 different numbers to work with while keeping the naming convention, the fact that they picked one that has already been established to not be the Red Giants team is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
They literally could have picked any other number and it would have worked.
Yeah, and they put their and they say that their settings are like, oh, hyperbolic stories told in the bar or something like that until the battle record has proven otherwise. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean that's the justification they always used for like MSV stuff, but even I feel like this is just dumb.
Yeah, this is dumb. And
I would rather see more side stories to things like the Zeta Gundam era and the Char's counterattack era, because there's so much 1 year war already. Like, just focus on some other parts of the UC.
And
that's one of the things I really liked about Return of Johnny Raiden is even though it's all like MSV and MSVR stuff, the actual story itself takes place around the same time as Double Zeta Gundam.
Yeah. And as far as I'm able to tell, like, because we also got some news for Gundam Requiem of Vengeance.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, it takes place in 0079.
Another 0079 side story.
It's like, for God's sakes, let's leave the 1 year war alone.
Again.
Again.
Although it'll be interesting to see another take on a CG Gundam series now that we have much better graphical software.
My apologies for knocking the mic. But
the one, I think actually whatever you're doing for noise reduction on your streams working really well, because anytime that you mention like knocking the mic or fan noise or anything, I hear literally nothing through it. So I think you're good on that regard.
Yeah, well, it's just formalities. Nothing too much of notes.
Yeah, it doesn't even come through on the mic. I think Discord at the very least has very, very good noise canceling.
Yeah, Discord, and the fact that I'm using a Blue Yeti X, so
yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, CG.
So yeah, the new Requiem series. I think it's got an American writer, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think that might be part of the live action Gundam project. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think it could, if it's not related to live action Gundam, I think it's just a matter of them experimenting with like having stories written by other people outside of Japan, which I don't know. I mean, I would be very leery of the first project being made by an American writer be something that takes place in the most important part of the Universal Century, because there's a lot of room to screw that up.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about Gundam is whenever they bring on a new guy to start writing something, they put them in their own alternate universe so they can build their own world and kind of
set their own
something
rules.
Really cool and unique that's theirs.
Yeah.
And even if they screw it up, the worst they can do is retroactively ruin their own show. No matter how bad something like Seed or 00 or Age or Witch from Mercury is or isn't, they can never ruin each other. They can only ruin themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's really helped Gundam for a long time, is the fact that they've stuck with that.
And and that's how we can all retroactively forget G Savior is the thing.
Exactly. It's just like everything is so isolated that it's just if one of them is bad, it doesn't ruin the batch.
Yeah. But come on, another 1-year war story. It's made by Netflix. Should have hinted why.
Wait, is it made by Netflix? Hang on, I gotta look at the
No,
announcement again.
I am just reading chat, so don't mind me.
Netflix. So like, what are they? I'm just trying to like understand what they were saying. Is the new Requiem thing, is that made by Netflix?
Not sure, not unless they reply. But I am sure that the live action Gundam movie that was announced like years ago, is gonna be made by Netflix, as far as I remember. And thank you, Dice Punk, for the $2 Singaporean super chat. The prologue is set in 79, but it occurs in 97.
Does it?
Which
For
prologue?
The new CG show?
I think 2S's voice is becoming quieter. Yeah, I'm actively tuning the audio because I saw a lot of red bars. So yeah, forgive me. So yeah, keep throwing the feedback on, seeing how the audio goes.
Yeah, I'm listening to MJ through the Discord call, so I have no context for how the audio sounds in the actual stream.
Yeah, because the main thing I'm hearing is the desktop audio is just gonna peak constantly. So that's why I'm trying to.
They added
tune it down.
Susanoo to Gundam Evolution.
Gundam Evolution. Yeah, this is Susanoo in Gundam Evolution. Yeah.
I did not know that was happening. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool, but at the same time, there is some people that say that's saying another 00 unit, really.
I think it's cool just because it's like not super expected. I really do like the roster for Gundam Evolution. How kind of it's more so focused on what would be interesting to play in a competitive game instead of just, hey, who's the most popular characters.
Yeah, some of the units are absolutely out of left field, like the
Mahiru.
Yeah, the Mahiru. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Mahiru, the Dom Trooper.
Yeah, the Dom Trooper. Well,
so many random but it makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's not just the same 10 guys that we see in every crossover game.
Oh yeah, and the Methus. The Methus.
Yeah, totally. I thought it was on Gundam Info where I saw the... Oh, wait, it was Anime News Network. Never mind. Because I think they just announced the new Gundam project at Anime Expo.
I think that's the Requiem of Vengeance project.
Requiem of Vengeance, yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the article that I was reading on it. History...
G Savior who Gaia Gear is where it's at.
I mean, honestly, Gaia Gear is better than G Savior.
Yeah, well, at least, I did a re-review of the G Savior space mode, and at least the kit is good. So I'll say.
Yeah, honestly, the greatest thing about G Savior is the fact that the rendered cutscenes in the PS2 game look better than the movie. That's not hyperbole. That's not an exaggeration. The PlayStation 2 game that came out alongside the movie genuinely looks better than the movie.
As far as I've seen from doing research, I will concur.
It's like, man, they could have rendered it in the engine for the PS2 game and it would have looked better.
Yeah.
Requiem for Vengeance animation project announced. Here we go.
They missed the chance to make Ariel for Gundam Evolution. Well, considering the speed that they added,
I think they put Ariel in Evolution.
No, they didn't put Ariel in Evolution. They put Ariel in.
That was
Overboost.
Extreme Versus.
Overboost.
It was Extreme Versus, right? Yeah.
Yeah, considering the speed that they did that, they might put Ariel into the into Gundam Evolution next.
I'm not sure how much longer they're going to support Evolution for, because the player drop off for it was pretty extreme. Like, there were a lot of people playing that when it came out, and you don't see very many people playing it nowadays.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay, so I'm just reading the credits for the Requiem for Vengeance thing. German artist Erasmus Brostow, Origin Zero, Lord Inquisitor, Seed of Ambition, is directing the project, and Gavin Heinite, who wrote Transformers Cyberverse, Star Wars Resistance, and Tekken Bloodline is writing it.
That's interesting. So, there's not a single Japanese there.
Yeah, and then they're mentioning the American voice, or not American, but the English voice actors without mentioning Japanese VAs. So this seems like it's going to be like a kind of Western focused production entirely.
Yeah, seems so.
So they're like going to be this is basically being made effectively by Westerners, and then it's going to be dubbed back into Japanese for Japan.
Yeah.
Celia Mossingham from Legends of Tomorrow and Ladies in Black is voicing the lead character and performing the motion capture for animation. Oh, here we go. The producer is Nahiro Ogata, who did Witch from Mercury and Thunderbolt.
Oh,
is going to be involved in the Oh, wait. Producer, hang on. It says producer so-and-so is involved in the project. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the producer of the show. It just means he is a producer who will be involved.
Well,
so it really sounds like Bandai and Japan are going to be very hands-off with this.
Yeah, sounds like that. And Dice Punk Studios for the others, $2 Singaporean dollars, says, yeah, I meant Requiem, the new CG show.
Erasmus is the one responsible for the Full Metal Alchemist live adaptation special effects. Well, this is all going to be CGI, not live action, so maybe they'll look better in CG.
Hopefully so.
I find that with animation, you can get away with slightly jankier CG in animation because it's not being directly compared to live action people.
Yeah, because you can more easily suspend your disbelief because it is CG.
Oh yeah, because it's all stylized in such a way that it just creates more like visual continuity.
Yeah.
And yes, not the live action Full Metal Alchemist. I saw the trailer for that, and that was enough for me. I did not touch those movies with a 10-foot pole.
Thankfully, I've been living under a rock, so...
The only good anime live-action adaptation I've seen was Rurouni Kenshin.
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, it was actually really good. It was just like you almost can forget it's an anime and just watch it as like a cool samurai movie.
Yeah. Can hear the thump quite loud. My apologies if you could hear the mic thump.
Yeah, I think it's probably just not coming through for me because I'm listening to Discord instead of the stream.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, and they did add the aerial in UC Engage for whatever reason.
So the mechanical design supervisor for Vengeance is going to be Kimitoshi Yamane, who worked on Cowboy Bebop, Escaflowne, and multiple Gundam projects.
Now we'll have to dig those designs up and see what we're going to be expecting.
Yeah, see, that's what's really frustrating about trying to find mechanical designer credits is that everyone's always credited to the show they worked on, but no one ever works on all the mechanics for a show. So it can be kind of frustrating to find what specific things someone worked on before.
Yeah. But now because the artists post their artwork onto social media.
Yeah, that's basically the only way you can even tell nowadays for some of them is just because they happen to post it on their Twitter.
Yeah.
The live-action Diamond is Unbreakable movie is good. I was not a fan of the Diamond is Unbreakable movie. It felt like they stretched out. They basically took like 2 episodes of the show and they tried to stretch it out into a 2-hour movie. It felt like the pacing just dragged on and on and on. And the last thing JoJo should be is boring. So I would not say that was necessarily a good adaptation.
I haven't seen JoJo, so I don't have a metric to compare it to, but yeah.
Basically, they took a very very high energy and fast paced show, and they took literally the first 2 episodes, like the initial starting origin point, and they made a 2-hour movie out of it. And it did not need to be the movie could have been a much larger portion of the show, and it would have worked fine.
Yeah. Oh God. That's
all you need to know about it.
Okay.
Also, all the characters, it does that thing that they do with the Japanese anime adaptations sometimes, where they try to make the characters' designs in the movie look too much like the anime, and they just kind of look like cosplayers.
Yeah, that would kind of stray into the uncanny valley.
And the thing with JoJo is it has a very stylized aesthetic. Like, there's a very distinctive, vibrant look to it.
Yeah.
And the characters work in the setting that they're in, but when you take those characters that look that way and you put them in a regular, normal, realistic Japanese town, it just looks weird. They would have had to do like some live-action Dr. Seuss level stylization of the sets in order to make it look right.
I could imagine. Like,
Which honestly, I would have been all for. Like, I want like a really wacky, surreal, like you know those movies that are just like live action, but they're so stylized you almost can't tell. Like Sin City, for example, or the Dr. Seuss movies. I want a JoJo movie like that, where it's technically live action, but it's just so wildly stylized that it's just insane to watch.
Yeah, a coherent style would benefit the movie.
Oh, you know what movie actually did that really well? And this is actually another good live action anime adaptation. The Speed Racer movie that the Wachowskis did.
Ah,
Yeah, they made a really good Speed Racer movie.
sounds like I should add that to my playlist.
You should. I watched it on a whim because I thought, oh, this is gonna suck, but I'll watch it because I'm bored, and it ended up being a really good movie.
That's interesting. I'll try to look for it and add it to the playlist on my plane ride to the UK. It's gonna be 14 hours of pure gruel, so might as well find something to entertain myself with.
Yeah, William Roget II is doing the music for the series, and he did Mortal Kombat 11, Call of Duty World War II, Lara Croft, and the Temple of Osiris. So it seems like mostly video game music. Mortal Kombat 11 does have a good soundtrack, but I don't know if he did the whole soundtrack or just parts of it.
Might just be credited for doing parts, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it does have a pretty good soundtrack from what I remember.
Yeah, then yeah, I suppose the expectations for Requiem of Vengeance could be high, but I want to wait to see more information about it.
Extremely hesitant. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, original game soundtrack music by William. So he did the whole soundtrack from Mortal Kombat 11.
Ah,
Okay, cool. But yeah, I'm very, very apprehensive for Requiem of Vengeance. I'm not sure if this team can do Gundam justice, and I'm especially leery that the first ever Gundam project that has a full Western team since G-Savior is something that is not only in the canon Universal Century, but in the most important portion of the Universal Century.
Oh, yeah.
If I was Bandai, I would not have made that move. I would have given these guys like their own alternate universe timeline so they could prove themselves, and then if it turned out well, I would give them the Universal Century story.
Yeah, that's the real kicker. And Dice Punk Studios with another $2 Singaporean dollars says, I was just gonna say Speed Racer.
Mm-hmm.
So sounds like I should add that to my playlist for my plane ride then, hey? Are there
Hai Tiang in the comments. I don't think we're ever going to see more Gundam Thunderbolt TV series. I think the Thunderbolt anime is pretty much dead, unfortunately. With how long it's been, I think if you want to see the rest of the Thunderbolt story, you just got to read the manga.
Yeah, well I'm not gonna say anything because I haven't even finished the second season of Thunderbolt, but I've seen the kits be reissued from time to time recently. Like the three main...
I think it's because the 10th anniversary of the manga happened recently, so they did a bunch of kit re-releases.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I got my own full armor Gundam because of one of the few recent reissues.
The high grade?
Yeah, the high grade.
Yeah, it's animating Thunderbolt was very expensive for Bandai, and I don't think they got a huge return on their investment given how little they put into the merchandise for it. And with how the thing with Thunderbolt is, it's not just a matter of, oh, they just have to make a third season and the show's over. No, they can't end it with a third season. There is maybe like 50 to 60 to 70 episodes of Thunderbolt content in the manga, and there's no way they could finish that. It's not just a matter of making one or two more batches of episodes. They would literally need to be making Thunderbolt for a long time in order to finish that story, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Like with the images that I've seen, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of content.
Yeah, they're getting so far in the story now that they have a freaking Gundam Mark II.
They're going into Griff's War territory.
Kind of. I don't know, because the interesting thing with Thunderbolt is it's not canon Universal Century. The writer's basically just doing his own thing, so he could very well have chosen to introduce the Gundam Mark II earlier in the Thunderbolt timeline than it is in UC.
Yeah, perhaps. But it's still far along.
We don't know. There's the unannounced Silver Phantom thing. Oh, I heard. I remember that now. Yeah, that was. I think that's
another
that
trademark
name was
that they
leaked
claimed.
alongside Requiem for Vengeance. Yeah, it was a trademark leak.
Yeah.
Netflix plus anime plus live action is not a good mix. No, it isn't. It wasn't with Cowboy Bebop, and I don't think it's going to be for One Piece either.
Unfortunately, I've seen the thumbnails of the live action One Piece, and I'm already apprehensive about it, even though I'm not an avid follower of the series.
I don't mind the actor they got for Luffy. I think he does the role well. I think he's a good fit for the character. It's just that the way he's being directed to act is really weird and doesn't feel like Luffy from the anime.
I haven't really seen, like, forgive me guys, I live under a very big rock, so yeah.
Basically, the One Piece trailer is trying to do like the dark and serious Hollywood movie tone, even though One Piece is not a dark and serious Hollywood movie.
Oh god, no.
And it's not like comically grimdark, but there's a lot of like very serious hushed tones as people are talking, and people making very serious faces as they look off into the ocean. And it just doesn't really feel like One Piece in that regard.
They're being unironically dark.
Yeah, we'll see. Like some of them, like again, some of it looks okay. Like I think the guy they got for Zoro looks pretty good as well. But like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait.
Also,
and see.
it's freaking One Piece. How are you going to tell the story? How are you going to tell any meaningful portion of the story of One Piece in like a 12-episode Netflix show?
We can't. There's like over 100 or 1,000 episodes, I believe, of anime. I don't know.
One Piece is one of those shows that I'm just never going to watch until we reach the point with human technology where I can just take a pill that downloads it into my brain, because I am never sitting down to watch 1,000 episodes of that thing.
No, never. It's like a story that never ends.
Technically, any animated shows are made to claim to be canon. That's not necessarily true. Origin, Dones Island, and Thunderbolt are not canon to the UC. That's something that confused a lot of people, but they are very definitively not part of the anime canon.
Well,
yeah, Parallel UC, exactly.
Yeah, Parallel UC, despite them using the same names as main UC.
Which is fine. Like, I see, because it's like the Batman movies, right? Like, Christopher Nolan Batman is not the same as the Michael Keaton Batman. They just happen to have, the same setting and characters.
Yeah.
Anime is not meant to be adapted in live action. That is true for some anime. Like, there's some anime that I think could work in live action. Like, as awful as the Netflix Death Note is, I think Death Note is an anime that could work in live action due to the nature of the show. But One Piece, I would say, is one of the last anime I would ever try to turn into live action. It's like right down there with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as far as shows that leverage their animated qualities so hard that you could not make them work in live action.
Even just by like a passerby perspective, like mine, they look too whimsical to be adapted into live adaptations.
Yeah, like a lot of its strength comes from the animation style and in the way that it is animated.
Yeah, a lot of what makes them work is their whim, and I feel like it would just be too ridiculous to adapt it into live action.
I remember back when I first read One Piece manga, I speed read 500 chapters in a day. Jesus. Yeah, that's one of those things that you can only do when you're like a high schooler and you just have like so much free time this summer that you can just like sink a month of your life into reading One Piece.
Oh. Wow. Yeah.
Death Note had live-action Japanese films, which were good. I've seen a little bit of those. They looked okay. I would say I would imagine they're probably better than the Netflix one, but I don't think they were super great.
They would be tepid, considering everything.
And I think ultimately what it comes down to is, just because something is popular does not mean you need to make it live action. Like, animation is fine as a medium, and if a story has been told well in animation and people like it in its animated form, Cowboy Bebop, you do not need to make a live-action version of it. The good version exists. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, making, The Lion King or whatever live action does not magically make it a better movie.
I was just about to bring it up as an ironic remark. If only Disney could learn from this.
Yeah, like they think that if we make this live action, it automatically makes the movie better.
Nah.
No, it doesn't. Those are animated movies. The characters are animated in their expressiveness and their emotion and the way they act and the way the world works and the way that everything in the scene is carefully choreographed by a team of animators. That does not work in live action, and you have to put in infinitely more effort into live action to get it to even approach it, you are literally gaining nothing. Stop doing that crap.
Yeah, you have to confine to the realms of reality because of that. And everything has to be about realism when it comes to live action remakes. In essence, you're basically constricting yourself and limiting the area of expression.
Joe, I have no idea what's happening to the second half of Hathaway's Flash, but I really hope we see more of that because I loved that first movie.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's probably.
Fortunately, I don't think they're going to abandon it because from what I saw, Hathaway, and this was before Wood from Mercury came in and dominated everything, but Hathaway was actually higher grossing than Char's Counterattack, which was the previous most successful Gundam movie. So I definitely think that Bandai is going to be continuing. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, unfortunately, all we can do is just wait.
And I remember I was initially worried about the first movie because it got delayed a lot. Like that movie, here's the thing that people don't realize. By the time the first movie came out, according to the original production schedule, the last movie in that trilogy should have been out the year before. That movie got massively delayed.
Well, it couldn't be helped because of the pandemic and stuff.
Yeah, but even before... That movie was supposed to come out in 2018.
Oh my god!
It was way delayed.
Jeez!
Like, even before the pandemic, they still delayed it massively. And it was only... Or no, it was 2019. It was supposed to come out 1 year after Narrative. So it was very heavily delayed, but it ended up being a really good movie. So even if it takes them a while to put out the second, I feel like I'm going to regret saying this, but I have enough faith in the production team to make it a good movie regardless.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see. Because I really want to see more Xi versus Penelope. And they managed to do. Even when the first fight was just in complete darkness, it was an engaging fight.
I honestly liked that fight in the middle of the movie more than the final battle. Like that was incredible, where you see like the on the ground perspective of the battle in the city.
Yeah, the Messers versus the Gustav Karls.
Versus the Gustavs, yeah.
We on the QB Papillon.
Hot take: animation is superior medium to actual movies. I would even say it's a superior medium. It's just a different medium that you can tell different stories in, and you can tell those stories in different ways, and they are not even remotely interchangeable.
Yeah. Like they how do I put this? They have their own purpose. Like live action has their own way of telling stories. Same thing goes for animated stuff. On rare occasions would they actually mesh well with each other, but more often than not, they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And they're doing their own thing.
Wish to make a real-type version of Master Phoenix. Yes, I would love to see real-type versions of the G-Generation designs.
The Phoenix Gundam?
And
speaking of which...
The Phoenix Gundam, and there's other designs like the Sisquid from G-Generation that are like...
The Howlfast, the Regina, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And...
Like the Aquarius, that would be cool.
Oh yeah, the Aquarius, yeah. I think they're making like
and
a
the
figure
Belphegor,
of it.
I love the Belphegor already exists in real type form because they added it to the Gundam X manga after it appeared in G Generation.
Yeah.
Like there's some really cool designs in G Generation.
Yeah, and especially like the newly announced Gundam Latreia from what is it? SD like the PC SD game. I forgot the name.
Game?
No, is it SD Battle Operation? Is that what it's called?
Oh, the Battle Alliance.
The Battle Alliance, yeah. The Gundam Latreia. Hi MJ, how's it going?
Yeah, I saw that.
Upper body done. I think I'm gonna leave out the stickers for now because I really want to make all of these UV reactive by just scrawling all over it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave the stickers out for now and see what's what because well they're orange anyway, so yeah, I can just scroll over it without much change in the appearance, just so I can have like that intimidating effect on the UV light.
It's so disappointing that the most visually striking elements of the entire kit are just slathered in stickers.
Yeah, but could
At
I?
that point, they already are retooling the entire binder pieces. They could have just made them as like a sandwich type thing where you have cutaways for the red parts and then just a red piece that goes behind them. And there you
Yeah.
go. It would have been one extra part on each wing.
Yeah, I could understand that. But then again, they restricted themselves to creating it around a 1999 mold.
Hmm. Yeah, this was, I would say, probably the biggest miss of the original Build Fighters line, where they were doing what they could with their budget, and this was one where they just couldn't make it work. And I think the other one was the Miss Sotheby, really, because like there was no way to make that work, because the whole premise of the design was, hey, we're going to take the Sotheby and make it look feminine. And
Yeah.
the way they did that in the anime was completely redesigning every single aspect of its proportions from the head to the feet. And when it came to the kit, like, they're not going to do that. They can't do that. So all they really did was just make the legs thinner and call it a day.
Yeah.
That was just a design that could not be made feasibly as a kit, because it would have been basically an entirely new mold at a time when that was not in the budget for Build Fighters.
Yeah.
Really nailed the sound design and atmosphere for Hathaway's Flash. Oh, absolutely. That
Oh
movie
yeah.
sounded awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is quite possibly one of the most atmospheric Gundam projects I've seen. In terms of the animation, the cinematography, and the sound design and the music, like, it is an incredible experience to watch that.
Absolutely. Like I'm a big stickler for sound. If you guys don't know, because I feel like sound actually enhances the overall experience, the viewing experience, if used correctly. Like it gives
Oh, 100%.
whatever they're used on more character, and it gives more like atmospheric impact as per Hathaway's
Yeah.
Flash. That's why I'm a big, like I am a very big, I don't know, I'm very against the recent animes. Like they've used the same sound kit over and over again, starting with Build Divers, and then Re-Rise
So,
actually
like,
did
the sound
something better.
effects?
Yeah, the sound effects. They use the exact same sound
Yeah.
kits. Like Build Divers, we can excuse it as it's a different series to Build Fighters, and then Re-Rise added some originals, and they use the same sound kit but are less egregious about it. But then comes Breaker Battle Log. They use the exact same thing, and G-Witch, half the sounds are recycled from the same sound kit. It's just like, come on.
I think G-Witch added enough original sounds that they ended up having some pretty decent sound design. Like,
Yeah.
Witch from Mercury does actually sound pretty great in some scenes.
That rifle sound from the Gundams, oh man, that's just pure.
And it meshes well with the soundtrack, too.
Yeah, it meshes well with the soundtrack, but then again, there is also some subpar stuff, like when the Far Act first launched and that generic eye sound. It's like, come on, if you don't have a good sound to use on it, just don't give it an eye flash. So that's why I'm a big stickler for sound as well, and which is why I often go scouring the animes and game files for the
To,
appropriate
like,
sounds
look for all
my,
the sound effects. Yeah.
yeah, for my own reviews, because like the whole thing about the before and after shots that I do is that I treat it like I'm gonna paint it up, touch it up, make it look like it should, or what I think it should look, like adding battle damage and stuff to some occasional kits like the Hill Dover that I just reviewed, and then setting it on a GP base, having it launch like Build Fighter style with the sounds. So that's what I was going for, and that's why I'm a
Oh yeah, Eve. I do really wish that I got to see Hathaway in theaters, because that would have been an awesome theatrical experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got to see Narrative in theaters.
I almost did, but it ended up not working out. And then I watched it at home and I realized that I missed basically nothing.
Yeah.
It was I really didn't like that movie at all.
Yeah, Narrative. Well, I could give them props for doing the Fenix justice to its namesake, but that's about it.
It was like everything that I didn't like about the latter parts of Unicorn just amplified. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, one of the things I didn't like was that, at least with Unicorn, no matter how weird the story got, the animation was just freaking gorgeous. But then in Narrative, like, Narrative's animation is like TV show tier. Like, it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good in the context of a movie.
Yeah. And the weird part is like just the even the aesthetic style of it. Like there's characters that return from Unicorn that I didn't even realize were from Unicorn until they said their name because they don't look anything like they did in Unicorn.
Yeah, the Silver Bullet Suppressor.
Yeah, Banagher and the woman from Anaheim, I think, in the like convoy at the beginning. Like I didn't even realize she was the same person from Unicorn until they mentioned her name.
Yeah, me neither. Hey Eve, I'm not being too lenient to narrative. They actually, like, whether coincidental or not, they actually did pull some parallels to the actual Demon Phoenix with the Unicorn Gundam Phoenix. So that's what I'll give it props for. Is it possible?
I was really impressed by the Oh, go ahead.
I'm reading chat. Is it possible if there's a new MS series after The Witch from Mercury? I doubt they're gonna let The Witch from Mercury die so easily for another series. Well, build Metaverse if that's what you want to go for. But hey, come on.
That's not a TV series though. That's just a web series.
Oh yeah, sure enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, just the 3-episode little web thing.
Yeah, and
I think we're probably going to see a sequel to Witch from Mercury. There's no way we're not. With how astronomically popular that was, we're getting Witch from Mercury Destiny or whatever. Like it's gonna happen.
Well, we did get Vanitas Heart, so but like, that's
even
a
aside
start.
From the manga, like we are getting sequel because the manga doesn't really mean anything because every single Gundam AU series gets a manga no matter how successful or popular it is. Like everything gets a manga.
Except for G-Reco, I believe.
Yeah, G-Reco didn't get one because no one likes. Even Bandai doesn't like G-Reco.
Yeah, fair enough.
Honestly, that whole show almost feels like a tax write-off to me at this point.
But apart from that, every single AU got a manga, whether or not it be a manga retelling or a manga side story. Yeah.
Or not even retail, it's just straight up. They all get side stories. Like there's G-Unit for Wing, there's Under the Moonlight for X, there's Astray for Seed, there's 00F and P for 00, there's Steel Moon for IBO, and I think Age had one as well. Like there's always some sort of side story manga.
I'm not too sure about Age, but I know about their side projects like Memories of Sid. Memories of Sid. And Exalog, Unknown Soldiers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was Unknown Soldiers was like their MSV kind of.
Yeah, their MSV. Exalog is much in the same vein, but Memories of Sid is kind of like telling the time gap between I'm just gonna say mobile suits, the H2 SP and the H2 Darkhound. So it's like
I'm
the
looking
missing
at the wiki.
13
It
years.
says there is an Age side story manga. It's called Gundam Age Treasure Star.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Okay, I have not either.
But I know that there is a manga addressing the missing 13 years of Asimu's final mission and turn towards the Basidians.
Yeah, and there is that Memories of Sid thing that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, Memories of Sid. Yeah. So even Age got quite a bit.
Oh, Reco did get a manga, but the mangaka got very ill halfway through.
Oh God. Okay, so fair.
We have confirmed that exposure to Reconquista is literally toxic.
And I've exposed myself to half the line, so.
Yep. Reconquista is an actual cognito hazard.
We should put it in the SCP archives.
Yep. Lock the whole show up.
Yep, lock the whole show up. But to be fair, the movies are pretty good. Like I've seen all 5 of them, and
I've heard that the movies do improve it a bit. I've been meaning to watch those.
A little bit, and they actually did a full redo of their return from the Venus globe to the Earth. Well, the whole battle in front of Kashiba Mikoshi. That's cool. That's completely reanimated, and they actually added in the G Arcane mobile armor mode. So
oh, good! They finally remembered that one of their major mobile suits in the series can transform. That seems like kind of a major thing to forget to add to your TV show.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they didn't forget it for Gundam Front Tokyo, but I believe it's because of the massive backlash. But we don't count that. That's basically non-canon, just to sell the G Phoenix,
pretty much,
among many things. But they actually added into the animated series because they reanimated one of the major battles. So there you go. And the whole infamous photon torpedo scene. Wow, that's perfection.
Like, imagine if, like, through the entirety of Unicorn, they just forget that the Delta Plus transforms, and you just never see it through the entire OVA.
We've seen a lot of unseen features, like the G Arcane. It had the photon balancers on the head before it was replaced with the full dress. It has beam sabers. It has beam wires. When were they used except for the Gundam Front Tokyo special? No, none.
I mean, I thought it was weird in IBO that the Kimaris Vidar has a freaking Dynslef built into its lance. You know, the devastatingly powerful weapon from IBO that was shown to be one of the strongest things you could possibly put on a mobile suit. The Kimaris Vidar had that built into it, and I don't think he ever used it.
Nope, he didn't. Not at all.
They just casually gave him the most OP weapon in IBO, and he just never uses it.
Well, I think it's more so a leftover of the configuration, because the Kimaris Vidar is also a configuration from the Calamity War, so maybe just a byproduct. I don't know. They're just pulling out all the stops. Dynasties mean
But I
nothing.
feel like they could have just mentioned, like, in the show, like, either, oh, this weapon, this used to be a Dynslef, but we decommissioned it, or this has a Dynslef, freaking use it, it's an insanely powerful weapon.
Yeah, fair enough, especially when you're going up against the Bale.
Yeah, like, that's such a major thing to just neglect to mention in the show.
But I can give them a half pass because it actually did use it in the manga retelling.
That is good. At least they fixed their mistakes there.
Yeah.
Kimaris Trooper has a radiation gun, but it never uses it. Helmvidge Ringcar has an electric blaster weapon, and it never used it. And the Kimaris Trooper had the nipple guns.
The nipple guns, the mines, all of that went unused. Yep. The Helmviga Reincar has the electric shock horns, never got used. And what else? There's quite a few. There's quite a few from IBO that
I feel like Iron-Blooded Orphans had very poor communication between the director and the mechanical designer, because I remember seeing an interview with him where he said that he didn't even know that the Gundam Bale was supposed to be piloted by McGillis until after he designed it, and he just threw on the Valkyrie swords as like an afterthought.
It kind of... Well, in the end, it does kind of make sense why McGillis went for the twin swords in that sense, but the miscommunication is just undeniable.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case sometimes, and honestly, I've had some gripes with the mechanical designs from Witch from Mercury before, and all the mechanical designers working on are incredibly talented, and they've done some great work for a lot of other Gundam series, but I think with Witch from Mercury, I feel like sometimes they were just not given enough of a prompt for what to kind of go for, and they were just told, make cool robot. Because there's some, like the Gundam Faract, for example, where you don't really get anything from the design. Like, it doesn't... Like, I don't look at them like, this looks like it should fight the way it does in the anime. Like, the general style it fights in the show is it like kind of stays at a distance, and it has like these funnel bits that come out, and it uses those to disable its enemies, and then it picks them off with the rifle. And it's like, okay, that's a cool, unique fighting style. Nothing about the design communicates that. In fact, you can't even see the funnels. They're completely hidden underneath the armor, and when they come off, they just like look like random bits of the frame that fell off the kit. Like, I think they needed to do a much better job of communicating either the character that's piloting it or the combat style of the machine through the design. And I think in some of those cases, there probably just wasn't enough detail given by the director regarding, you know, what the mechanical designer was supposed to make.
Yeah, and even when given the switch for the Gundam Faract from a sniper to a gunslinger, because it only used that loadout once in the anime. Like, I'm not afraid to spoil that. It only used that once.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's I don't know. The design itself is all right, but it only communicates to me as being lanky, high mobility. That's it.
Yeah, like, it's a cool design in a vacuum. I just look at him like, I have no idea what this machine does. Like, what does it do? What is the pilot? Like, so many, you look at, like, Gundam Seed or Gundam 00, and the mobile suit kind of, like, communicates either something about the pilot or something about their fighting style or the combat role of the machine. Like in Gundam Wing, every single Gundam has a clear combat role. You got the heavy artillery guy, you got the stealthy melee guy, you got the sniper guy in 00 with the dynamites. There's a clear role for each Gundam. And then in Witch from Mercury, they're all reasonably cool designs in a vacuum, but they don't really have like a clear role, you know?
Yeah. It's most likely because, well, it's kind of like an arms race. Every single company is doing their own thing, and somehow they manage to just overlap or something like that. But
a lot of them aren't even doing their own thing. They're just doing their own version of the same thing.
yeah,
Like, I really liked the Garibaldi just because the whole, like, limb funnel system was really unique, and that had a very unique style to it. I think that was probably one of the better designs in the whole series.
not to mention that it is one of the most fun gimmicks in the kit because it was really accessible with the 3mm holes, so that you don't necessarily have to have the G-Witch display base in order to send everything flying around. So that helped it a lot.
Yeah, I think that was a really good one. I really like the Demi Barding as well. That's probably my favorite design in the whole series. And I think the Gun Volva works because that one takes the whole unremarkable thing to the extreme and just makes the most neutral generic Gundam ever, and it kind of loops back around to being cool. But a lot of the other designs from the show I was not really a fan of.
Yeah, I'm more so look at the roles of each mobile suit, if that makes any sense. Like I'm pretty much neutral to like most of the designs unless they really captivate me. Like let's deviate from G-Witch and say some Iron Blooded Orphans MSV stuff like the Gundam Gamagen. That thing with the unique weapon captivated me instantly. But it's like for series like G-Witch, it's more so about the character of the mobile suit.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, like the Demi Trainer, I think is a good design too for its role because it looks like a training suit. Like I think that one works pretty well as well.
Yeah, it's simple, it's modular, easy to maintain.
Yep. That is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where the mobile suit design fits the role that it plays in the story.
Yeah.
Like that's what I like to see.
Yeah.
Well, there is more to that than it just keeping its distance and sniping Neon, because the funnels are a very major part of its functionality, and yet they're hidden away underneath the armor. You can't even, they're not a visually apparent part of the design. And when they're off the armor, they don't even look like they're designed to come off. They're like these weird, like half-circle horseshoe bits that just look like pieces of the frame that fell off the Gundam. Like they don't look. They could have designed them to look more interesting as funnel bits, since they are kind of one of the most important weapons the Gundam has. Like, if you compare them to the funnels on something like the Kshatriya, or the New Gundam, or the HFX, or the Quanto, or even the Aerial itself with its permet bits, like, there are so many more visually interesting ways to do flying bit parts than what the Farak does.
It's way too subtle in my opinion. Like, even the base, like, even the base with the brackets that are made to display the Korax gun bits are... I feel like the base steals more of the attention than the bits, despite them being clear.
Yeah, the bits they're so small and unremarkable looking, you can't even identify them. They're just there.
It's not until...
It almost looks like a kid was like playing with it and they just like pulled parts off of the model to like pretend that they're funnel bits and they're not actually supposed to come off.
It's not until when builders actually drilled holes into the bits and displayed the red beams that that they actually do kind of stand out.
And like exactly hidden and surprised when they deploy, and even more surprised when they split up. I mean, kind of, but I still think even if they're hidden away, they could have made the bits themselves look more visually interesting. The Caliburn weapon looks like a broom, like a witch. Yeah, that is another example of like good weapon design, where I think that is pretty cool. That's cool.
That's a cool nod.
I just wish the and while I do understand now that the Caliburn is supposed to be like a prototype mobile suit, I do wish it had a little bit more interesting of a color scheme. Lefrith Thorn. Oh yeah, Lefrith Thorn is a weird design. It's such an odd one because it's like it. On one hand, I appreciate it not having like super normal mobile suit proportions. On the other hand, I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of it is, because it doesn't seem like the atypical design of it gives any sort of advantage in combat, or allows it to perform a different role, or fits the style of combat of the pilot. It just seems like they made it different for the sake of being different.
Well, whether or not you would buy into it, the instruction manual said that the Lefrith Thorn looks so weird is because it is made to maintain its balance even in the harshest of conditions. Because it is so low to the ground, it's only 14 meters, it will have a better sense of gravity. Whether or not you
So
buy
it's
into
more
it,
so designed. It's designed for like surviving sandstorms and stuff more than fighting in space.
the appearance, yeah. But whether or
Okay,
not
I
you
can see that.
whether or not you buy into it is up to you.
No,
I'm
I get it.
yeah, I'm just a messenger.
It's kind of hard to pick up on that from what I've seen in the anime so far, but I could see that. I could
My-
see that being the justification
My
for it.
God, like don't even get me started on the tech explanation in G-Wish, because a lot of it you will have to turn to the model kit blurbs for that.
Yeah, that was a big issue I had with season 1 is this show, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't explain itself, and they expect in season 1, every time I would criticize the show for not like explaining or elaborating on things properly, everyone would just say like, "Oh, read the novel, read the novel." I shouldn't have to read a freaking side novel to understand the show. The show is the main content. It should explain itself.
Yeah, it didn't even it took them 14 episodes to mention why the beams were completely different in color. It took them 14 episodes to do that because of the school regulation system limiting the output of the beams. But to be fair, if you've been an avid reader of the instruction manuals, you'll find that out within like the Demi Trainer instruction manual. But come on.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like it's cool that there's information in the manuals, but I feel like you shouldn't have to go through the freaking model kit manuals to get important information about the show.
I feel like what the manuals serve is to add like little tidbits of extra information for the mechanical designs, the technology, all that kind of stuff. But they've been using that as a main vector to explain away the technologies. And even then, like when it comes to the shell units on the Gundams, like the parts that where they glow,
Yep.
they basically mentioned the exact same thing over and over again in every single time they mentioned the shell units. Well, it's a data terminal for transferring data between the pilots and the mobile suit, and that's basically all there is to say about it. And they repeated that over and over. It's like, come on, I want to know more about what this thing is.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know if they know more about what it is. That might be the deepest description that exists, even to the writers.
Following the finale, I would believe that, honestly. They like I don't know. Especially starting with episode 9 with the 6v6 duel. I feel like even before the major plot revelations, I feel like it's magic, so we don't need to explain it. It's basically the same vein as the Psycho Frame. But of course, with the major,
there's a good little exchange here in the chat here where someone said, "Why did they not put legs?" Oh wait, here we go. Someone said she's from Earth regarding the pilot of the Fifth Thorn. She's from Earth, so it makes sense. And yeah, I do agree that makes sense for an Earth suit. And then someone immediately pointed out, why did they not put leg extensions on it when they used it in space? Like, yeah, I think the Lefrith Thorn's design would have made a lot more sense if we saw it being used on Earth first and we got to see the strengths and advantages of that design, and then we saw it in space. Because when you see it in space, it's like, why does this mobile suit look so weird? But if you had a chance to see it in its element first, it would have helped kind of explain the design, and I think it would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would also serve
honestly,
as
once I heard your explanation for why it looks that way, I kind of like it more. Like, that makes sense, but the show doesn't really communicate that.
It was only seen flying. Like,
yeah.
Like, even when it's in environments that is supposedly with gravity, it's still flying.
Is there a site where I can read the start of the Gundam Werewolf manga? I don't know if it's been translated or not. I think 1 or 2 chapters might be. Generally, I find mangadex.org is the most reliable place to go for compilations of fan translations. Let me see if they've got Werewolf. I think they do. But generally, that's like the most up-to-date place in terms of compiling all the different fan translations. And then, of course, for specific translation groups like Zeonic, you can just go to their website and they'll have them there. Let's sort by do an advanced search and sort by latest upload. I think I've seen the first 1 or 2 chapters of Werewolf being posted somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was Mangadex. Man, I'm so disappointed that no one has translated Princess of the Sky.
Oh, it's been so long.
right?
Yeah.
I remember I went through a period of time about 5 years ago where I was really getting into reading all the Gundam mangas, and then I proceeded to completely lose interest in Gundam manga because I realized that 95% of them either weren't translated or someone translated the first 3 chapters and then abandoned them for a year.
Oh, that yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
Yep. Fortunately, I looked back into them recently, and a few of the manga that I was reading before have actually been finished now. You can read Frame of Strays, for example, in its entirety.
Nice.
Which I've am planning on doing soon because when I last read that, only the first volume was in English.
Ah. And Nana, welcome to the stream, but I don't plan on discussing the ending of G-Witch on the stream, just for the sake of the people who hasn't seen the entire thing yet.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about little bits and pieces of the story in isolation, but we're not going to be discussing like the entire ending of the show.
Yeah. Though, well, speaking of mangas, next stream. The next stream manga has the first 2 chapters translated, as far as I've read.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at that right now. In fact, actually, Gundam EXA is complete now.
Gundam Exa is complete. Well, then.
Yeah, the entire thing is available in English now.
Nice.
Right? Like I remember looking at that like 8 years ago and being like, man, this is probably not like a great manga because it's like a tie into the Extreme Versus game, but I'd still kind of like to read it. And now the whole thing's just available in English.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, and we have 3 chapters available in English right now for next stream, with the most recent one being made a month ago. So it seems like there is a semi-active translation effort for that.
Yeah, that's good. It's basically like an isekai plus Across the Spider-Verse story. So I'll wait on that. But if they actually manage
to... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. Well, but if they actually manage to translate Exa Versus, then that I will be interested in, because of a lot of the like plot points and stories that tie into the Maxi Boost On games, and especially the extremely unknown Extreme Gundam Extreme Application On variant of the Extreme Gundam Type Leos 2 Versus. Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like more light being shed on that would actually be a bit better.
Yeah. To answer your question in the chat, Nana, polycaps are way better than plastic on plastic. When you have those type of styrene connections, they wear out. It's really just a matter of time until they wear out. Well, the polycaps, because they're made of a softer plastic, they're able to kind of squish around the joint, and it creates a really nice, almost like a self-lubricating plastic, where it creates a really smooth joint connection. A lot of older high grades would rely more heavily on polycaps. Bandai's been trying to phase them out in the last couple years, and the older style construction with the polycaps is just definitely the superior way to go. Man, reading Gundam manga is a pain because it's either not translated or just canceled. Yeah, I'm honestly kind of impressed that Gundam Seed Eclipse has an official translation ongoing from Bandai with their Gundam Info videos. Like, it's not really the manga itself; it's more of like a motion thing. But I mean, it's still cool.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't read it yet, but I appreciate the fact that they're making it as an official thing. That's nice.
Yeah. Well, mostly because they want to market the master grades more. But hey.
And yes, I would say that the mistake that switching to plastic on plastic is a mistake for them. They're doing it to try and cheap out a bit because they can make the construction simpler and it's less cost to them. It does have some small advantages for painting because the type of plastic that's used for polycaps does not like to take paint. So some people do prefer having the kits entirely made out of styrene. The bigger issue, though, however, that's not really as big of an issue nowadays because the polycaps are almost always completely hidden inside of kits nowadays. So if you don't paint the polycaps, it's kind of a non-issue because you're not going to see them anyways. What I suspect is part of the reason for the moving away from polycaps is we've seen recently with things like the kits that'll use like Limex and other materials. I think Bandai is experimenting with moving away from using plastic for their kits. And if there's specific types of plastic they need to use, like the polyethylene for polycaps, that's going to make that a lot harder for them. So I think they want to try to find ways to do model construction that only use one single material, so they can make that single material whatever and save themselves on some costs. I think that's what it's. I think that's a part of what's motivating them to do these polycapless kits.
Hmm. My experience varies, though plastic is better, those stress marks are an issue. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm. Have you built any of those kits that use that new Limex material?
No, I haven't built Gunpla.
Yeah, I think it was Gunpla, and I think they did like an eggshell entry grade RX-78 as some kind of expo kit.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, I've heard that was pretty crap.
I haven't really heard much, but I've heard Gunpla not being the best build experience.
Mm.
But all I've seen
They're doing another one for the new build strike from Metaverse.
I think that's more a character introduction instead of a kit introduction, because if you have to talk about Kun kits, there is a whole roster of characters from the 24 episodes of promo material they have.
I'm sorry, the what?
The whole reason Gunpla exists is to market the whole Gunpla as a concept to more people. They actually did like 1 minute episodes, 24 of them, to market the Gunpla hobby to more people.
Why not just make a 20-minute short then?
Well, episode of the minute thing, I don't know, but they have a whole full roster of characters. Like they have the Zaku, so the Char Zaku, the Ariel, the Jim.
Yeah, I'm actually watching the first episode in another window right now.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a whole roster of characters if they want to go for the Kun kit. So I feel like the build strike.
I'm kind of understanding it now. It seems like these are more so just like general mascots for the Gunpla brand.
Yeah. So I feel like the build strike is more so just a new character instead of a new kit, if that makes any sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah, these seem fun. I don't know how well it's worked as marketing for them, considering they average around 20,000 views a video, so it's not like they're reaching a ton of people that don't build Gunpla.
It doesn't help that they posted the entire series at the very same moment, so...
Yes, I remember that. It literally swamped my entire subfeed the day that they put these up.
Yeah, so that doesn't help, because, YouTube things.
I wonder if they run these as ads. Because these feel like they would work well as just, like, advertisements.
I doubt it.
More so than things that people actively seek out to watch.
Maybe in Japan, but I'm not too sure.
Okay, well, he just started unzipping a boy's pants, so I think I'm going to stop watching now.
Watch it off stream.
I mean, to be fair, the boy wasn't wearing the pants at the time.
Yeah, well...
Okay, I just realized I made it sound worse. He was wearing his own pants, and there's a separate pair of pants on the desk that the Gunpla unzipped.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is overly whimsical, but still pretty fun towards the.
It's cute. It's funny. Yeah. I get it. I think it would. I think it would work to get people into Gunpla if they promoted it more. But I don't. It doesn't seem like they are.
It doesn't seem like they are promoting that to the Western market, apart from the Gunpla kit.
Yeah, and I get the Gunpla kit now, because before I thought it was just some weird, like, alternate stylization of SD, but now that I've seen the promotional videos, I kind of get it now.
Yeah. At least the Sun
Cooking
stuff is doing better than that Idol channel. Oh, wait. Nastris, are you talking about Linko Planet? The Kun stuff is doing better than the numbers and the Idol channel. You talking about Linko Planet?
Oh, I heard about that. The Idol group.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There's some weird marketing stuff they're doing with Gundam right now.
Yeah, all because it started with G-Witch. Like they used to do these early unboxing and reviews of the upcoming kits of the week, but now they seem to just do it on the day that it released, so there isn't much of a preview there.
I will say though, I don't know what it was. I heard something. Apparently, there's some like live action Bandai series about some girl building Gunpla or something, but they did the Zaku from it as a kit, and I gotta say, I've never heard of whatever thing it's from, but that is a really nice looking color scheme for the Zaku.
I'm a bit so-so on it. It's more like this, like more pastel kind of thing. And the Zaku,
I think it's a good color combo. I like it a lot.
It might be good on paper. I'll have to take a closer look later. I've seen glimpses of it, but
the kind of bluish teal and orange combo reminds me a lot of the what was it, the Wing Sky Zero from Breaker Battlelog, which I also thought was a really cool looking design.
Oh yeah, the Wing Gundam Sky Zero does absolutely have a good combo. Don't forget the build reel is getting another. Oh, for God's
what?
sake! No!
Is that serious?
Neon, please no. If that's legit, I have no words. Like, because, well, the build reel kits, like, I really want to review them for those who are considering them, even though it's been like a year or two, I think. I don't know. But
I don't think anyone ever considered those.
Had they had the tactical hammer in the RX-78 box, more would consider it. Like, the Team Monster High Mobility Zaku has a new headpiece that has a narrower eye gap. I get where they're coming from for that, but it's an absolute crime to not include the tactical hammer in the RX-78 box.
Mass Production Girl Rico, that's what it was called.
Ah. Yeah, I've seen I've seen snips of the Zaku and the series that it comes from. I already forgot. Some snips on Bandai's official Twitter, so I at least have a passing knowledge about it.
Yeah, what was I gonna... It's so weird how it seems like for the last couple of years they've been pushing all these random little marketing things that have just like no budget behind them, so they're not able to do anything really interesting.
Yeah.
Like there's Build Reel, there's the Idol Group, there's Gunpla, there's the MS Mass Production Girl Rinko or whatever. Like, it's just all these random little side projects, and like none of them are gonna gain any traction because none of them are any good. Because they're not, like, if they focused on like 2 of them and just made them halfway decent, they probably would have worked better as marketing.
Yeah, and
oh, and then there's that girl gun lady thing that no one watched.
Oh.
Although that's not directly tying into Gunpla.
Yeah, that's more so selling gun model kits.
Yeah,
like 1-to-1 gun model kits. Also, these seams on the Kimura's Vidar are gonna be the death of me. Oh no. I forgot how the Kimura's Vidar builds because I stripped mine for parts. But if ever they release a Gundam Gamaging kit, I would be tempted to return to the Kimura's Vidar, do a whole re-review of it, have a stock version on display or whatever.
Nastris, what I've seen of the Gundam Metaverse, I don't think anybody is going to the Gundam Metaverse. That thing looks so janky.
Oh my god, yeah. I remember going on the actual Gundam Metaverse for watching the prologue. It's just jank.
Mm-hmm. I've seen just like regular websites for just like product launches for like tech companies that look better than this quote unquote metaverse.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically a Flash game.
Like, I don't think anybody's talking about it right now.
No, I did like one stream where I just kind of explored around, and there was nothing to do.
Yeah,
like, and the two thing, even when there was an area where you were supposed to like go into a hangar and look at the real grade Zeong, and I was like, okay, that's cool. There's gonna be like a 3D model of Zeong, and you'll be able to like walk around it and see it from different angles. No, it just opens a freaking YouTube link and it plays a commercial for the Zeong. You can't even like explore it in. The whole point of having like a virtual environment like that is you can explore around it and see everything from different angles and get all up close to things you wouldn't normally be able to see. But as soon as you go into the hangar, it just opens a YouTube video.
And I remember like the display area where they would display premium Bandai kits, new kits in real settings. They actually just put the product photos up.
Yeah. No, like, at least have like some CAD models with like turnarounds that we can see.
They did that for the Hobby Next Phase events, and they didn't bother to do that in the metaverse.
They exactly. Like all the promo images we first get for kits now, they're already CAD. They don't do like photography of the kits, they're just CAD. So they have the models already in existence. It's ready. They're there, they're ready to go. All they have to do is just put them in the metaverse. In fact, even the freaking non-metaverse website for Gundam Universe, of all things, has interactable 3D models of the figure you can move and play around with and pose. And they couldn't do that for the metaverse.
That's a shame. Some number of trillion yen would they invested into this?
Oh God, I hope not.
I don't remember, but Kakarot has put out a number in one of his videos before. It's gonna be like a bitch to find, but I believe there was a number announced when this whole project was first announced as well.
That is just abysmal, just management of funds.
Yeah.
Especially considering that after all that money went into it, this is how it looks.
Yeah.
Like that has to be like a money laundering thing. Like somebody of someone working at Bandai got a bunch of money for this.
Yeah. And I don't believe they put up a disclaimer that this is a work in progress or something like that.
No. And like even to get to that pathetic point where it launched at, they had to delay it for like a month.
Ugh.
I remember I thought I was like just gradually going insane because every time I checked the site, the announcement date would be pushed back another week, and I eventually just started screenshotting it. I would compare the screenshots, and sure enough, every single week they would push it back another week. No mention of being delayed, they just changed the number on the site.
Might as well just say that you're waiting until this date for another delay.
Yeah, it was... I would say it's disappointing, but I had literally no expectations going in. And yet I was still disappointed, so I guess, yes, it was disappointing.
Yeah. Going in with no expectations and still being disappointed. Yeah.
I genuinely
Almost
I genuinely
a billion?
I could hire a man on Fiverr to make a better Gundam Metaverse than what they did.
Yeah. And Ragey Gamer says almost $1 billion US, I think. For that crap. Oh, God.
And like the thing with like someone said like, you know, the bizarre because the NFT Metaverse booms at its tail. Metaverses inherently are not a bad idea. Like there's stuff like VR chat that's incredibly successful. And the thing people don't realize is there's a lot of things we've had in the past that are basically what a metaverse is described as. Like, as much as people joke about Fortnite, it is probably the most successful metaverse we have right now. So is Roblox. You know, Minecraft multiplayer servers. We have incredibly successful online virtual environments that people actively go to. But then anytime one of these companies tries to make a metaverse, they just do it in the worst way possible.
Yeah. And just because of that, I really fear for the build metaverse. Like,
I feel like the best thing that's going to come out of Build Metaverse is we're going to get a couple cool kits out of it. Like, I think the Double O Diver with the new beam bits looks incredibly cool. I'm definitely going to pick one of those up.
I am going to be picking up... Well, granted, I am going to be picking every single one of them up. But if I am
right,
going to be
review.
a... Yeah, review. But if I'm just going to be a regular consumer, the Plutine Gundam, Shin Burning, and the Double O Diver Arc.
Yeah, the Double O Diver Arc is the one out of those I'm most interested in, and the others, from what I remember, they weren't super appealing to me.
Yeah, well, the Plutine Gundam is basically using Echopla, of which I have experienced without me knowing with the Black Woundwort. But the
oh really? That was Echopla?
Yeah, the Black Woundwort was actually Echopla.
That's neat.
Yeah, and
I noticed with the Super Robot Wars kits, like the Altasin, they actually have the Echopla logo on the box, so apparently the black parts in that are Echopla as well.
Apparently so. And yeah, the whole thing about the Double Diver Arc, we circle back to this conversation after an hour and a half later, that the glow-in-the-dark plastics, I'm interested to see how that works.
Yes.
Because mostly,
I don't
think
it's glow in the dark, right? Like it's UV reactive.
It's glow in the dark.
Glow when you put it in the sun.
It's glow in the dark.
Oh, it is glow in the dark.
It's glow in the dark.
Okay.
They say that it's like a light absorbing resin or something like that, literally translating. And I'm interested to see how that works because I actually have tested the EVA or EVA Unit 1 Night Combat version, and that has glow in the dark parts. And
it does.
Yeah, those things were insane. Like 10 or 20 minutes under like normal room light. You don't need to deliberately blast them with light. Just 10 or 20 minutes under normal room lights, you'll have like 40 to like an hour of luminescence. So Yeah, I'm interested to see if that is actually what the Double Diver arc is going for, and if that is
That's
so,
gonna be really cool.
yeah, you'll have a nightlight gunpla in
I was
your
about to
collection.
say I can't build too many of those, or I won't be able to sleep at night with the light blasting me in the face.
Fair enough.
You just turn out your lights to go to bed, and just your entire wall glows.
It's just blades jutting out of everywhere on the shelf. It's worse than Chrome
You
Kits.
turn off the lights, and the room gets brighter.
It's worse than Chrome Kits blinding you whenever you enter. It's just
Yes.
turning out the lights. It's still bright as day.
You have kits that are chrome and glow in the dark, so they end up self-powering themselves for the whole night.
It's gonna be a sun and moon relationship.
Yes.
And well,
Imagine waking up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat, and the globe in Ava's face is just illuminating in the corner of the
yeah,
room.
the Eva's worse than just the eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, imagine like I don't know in what circumstance, but imagine the exit repair with just the Tieran eye, just glowing in the dark, staring at you menacingly. But yeah, and the thing with the Shin Burning Gundam, I'm more interested in its aesthetics. Like most of you guys have pointed out that it takes inspiration from the Master Gundam. Like I can't see where they're going for, and that is indeed a clever nod. But to me, because of how the shield is shaped, it reminds me more of the Extreme Gundam Tachyon phase. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm getting it. Plus, it has a sword that channels flames instead of electricity. So that's more like a subtle nod, be it deliberate or not. So that's one of the reasons I'm getting the Shin Burning Gundam if I were a normal consumer.
I almost got more of a Epion kind of feel from the wings when they're folded up.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Polarized resin is used for the clear parts. You can enjoy gradations with the color-changing effects achieved when the parts are lit up or when they are seen from different angles. It seems like they're doing like a iridescent type plastic for the Shin Burning.
It seems so, but that's more like something that you will have to see in practice because I doubt any photos could be able to do that justice. Like
I was about to say, if it's actually iridescent, that's literally impossible to convey in photos. You'd have to see it in person or in video.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll try my best on that, but it's more of like icing on the cake to me.
A little bit disappointing the Shin Burning doesn't have flaming effect parts. I mean, it has some. It has a burning fist effect and it has a burning sword effect.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking about like the tri-burning style effects where there's flames coming out of everything, which no, it doesn't seem like they did.
It doesn't seem like it, no.
No. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Kamiki Burning Gundam design in general, so I won't be picking it up, but I think it is a pretty cool upgrade.
Yep.
And I was originally looking at the Build Strike Exceed Galaxy and thought it was kind of cool, but now that I'm looking at it again, I'm not as big a fan of it.
Well,
it's just kind of okay.
Yeah, on the contrary, I'm a little bit meh to it when it was first unveiled, but given that I now have an extra set of the Universe Booster and Galaxy Booster by hook or by crook, I am interested in combining everything and doing that more.
That is true. It is probably going to look better with one of those backpacks.
Well, it uses both. It does use both.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Well, just the cannons from the Universe Booster, granted, but it's more like a more reserved version of the Galaxy Cosmos, because everybody was complaining that it looks ridiculous. So yeah, it's a more reserved version of the Galaxy Cosmos that I'm very much looking forward to recreating.
So what are your thoughts on the Law Gundam?
The Law Gundam, it's down to the character, in my personal opinion, because just from looking at the straight photos, I understand it was built by an in-lore beginner, but still, the head suggests that there's something more elaborate to follow it up, but nah, it's just the regular old RX-78-2.
I think part of the issue that I have with it is that some areas of the design are rounded off, but some still have the very boxy look of the original RX-78, so it kind of creates a visual clash between the different areas of the model.
It just doesn't look cohesive, in my opinion. So that's why I say that it's more up to the character. So if the character manages to impress me on the Law Gundam, then maybe I'll consider it.
Yeah, and to answer Daniel's question from the chat, they're reissuing a lot of the kits from Fighters and Divers. I don't remember the specifics, but I would say it's probably like 60 to 70% of both lines.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a lot harder to find Bandai's reprint list now because starting back in COVID, they stopped putting them on their official website to make it harder for scalpers to snipe the new kits, and ever since then, it's been a lot more tricky to get a hold of that information. It's out there, it's still available, but you have to go kind of searching for it now.
Yeah. I think I'll hang around a little bit more and talk about the Iron-Blooded Orphan stuff. Because, well, I'm basically done here. I'm just basically missing the stand and planning out my next moves for this kit.
Right.
But
it goes a lot faster when you don't have to slather it in stickers.
yeah. And especially when I'm not trying to catch up on every single message in the chat. because I'm hanging out with an actual person. But hey, Iron-Blooded Orphans news. No, I think everybody basically omitted that we are getting the Gundam Hajiroboshi second form as a kit. Most likely in 2024 because they announced the entire slate for the rest of 2023.
Yes. I remember I pointed that out in my stream, and I think I added it at the end because I remembered seeing it when I was setting up the stream, and I think because it wasn't listed with the site that I was getting my other kit information from, I kind of lost it in the shuffle, and I had to add it in right at the end. But yes, we are getting a new form of Hajiroboshi.
Yep. And that form, because I actually saw it in game and kind of worked with it a little bit because the story actually gives you the units to work with, it's honestly a little bit ridiculous. Well, the game moves and stats, nobody cares about that, but the giant cross mace looks a little bit to me. I like how they nodded back to the Marcosius grant, given that they only just started to unravel the mystery behind the Hajiroboshi. But the cross mace is just a massive to me.
And Joe, to answer your question, I don't think the Breaker Battlelog kits are going to go extinct because of the closing of GBM. I don't think they're going to get reprinted super often, but they are probably going to get reprinted as often as the other build kits are. The ones that are just straight recolors, I don't know if we're going to see much more of those because those were actually P Bandai kits in Japan, so I don't know how often they'd re-release those. And the thing with those kits is in America, they didn't really sell well, so I don't think Bandai is going to be in any rush to make more of those. But the ones that are actually new designs, like the Command Quanta and the Barbatorus, I think those are probably going to get re-released as regularly as the other build stuff. I don't think they're going to not release them just because the game's out of commission.
Yeah, hopefully so. And well, I don't know. I'm probably just putting my hopes up, but I really hope that some other IBO kits will be announced alongside the Hajiroboshi second form, because when we had our last batch, like when we found out to be the Gundam Aspidate, there were also two kits that actually tagged along from the games, the Schwalbe Custom and the Ziegrune. So I really hope that there is going to be some other MSV stuff that they're going to throw in, whether it be Kudiria's Man Roadie or the Hyaka, that ridiculous thing. I don't mind it being the Hyaka, but mostly I would want to see the Gamajin and the Hagenti. Like I mentioned this in my previous streams.
Yeah, I think also, even if that Hajiroboshi second form is the last thing we ever get from the high-grade IBO line, that's still pretty impressive, because here's the thing. IBO started back in freaking 2015. It's been like 8 or 9 years since that line started, and it is one of, if not the longest running high-grade line we've had for a TV anime. Gundam Seed's high-grade line, if you want to be real technical about it, ran longer, but it didn't really run for longer, because it ran from 2002 to 2008. And then after 2008, there was a 4 or 5 year gap, and then they randomly made a couple of stray kits. So if you go by the number of years from first to last kit, yes, it has run longer than IBO has. However,
it has a
if
hiatus.
you ignore the gap, IBO wins. Like, IBO has had such an insane staying power in the high grade line. We've been getting a couple kits per year for, if that Hajiroboshi comes out in 2024, that'll be for 9 years.
Yeah.
Like, that is insane.
Yeah, that is insane. But Joe, to answer your question, no, I don't think we're gonna see a kits of the Harael, the Harael, the mobile armor. Did you see the clips online, Soundwave?
I think I've seen that. Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah, the Harael. I don't think we're gonna ever get that because it's way too massive. It's larger than the
Yeah.
Hashmal.
I can't see them doing another mobile armor even the same size as Hashmal.
No, not even. Never mind the Harael, where the Marcosius is literally small compared to one of its 6 claws.
Yeah. I will say though, regarding the longest running high grade lines, the depending on with Gundam the Origin, it's a bit of an odd one because the Doan's Island kits kind of sort of technically don't count, but also kind of do.
They do.
Depending on how you count those, Origin would be longer running than IBO.
Yeah, well, the Doan's kits don't count, but they are counting the gym that is coming out in November.
Yeah, exactly. But if you don't count the Doan kits, there has been a pretty long hiatus in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, how far are you into your own project over there? Because I'm
my
basically
project has been mostly just looking up and researching things that we've been talking about. I haven't actually been building anything right now.
Ah, crap! My apologies.
No, I was looking at my my Alto ground type from 30-minute missions, and I was thinking of maybe building that, but I didn't really feel like it, so I've just been researching the stuff that we've been talking about.
So yeah, we've just been hanging out while I'm just building stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And yep. Basically, that's all there is in terms of Gunpla until we get more stuff to talk about when the Schwarzette and the Caliban come out. So
Yeah.
like
People ask me sometimes why I don't do Gunpla news anymore, and I do Gunpla news. I still do. When there's actually news to talk about, but there's so little coming out from Bandai nowadays that it's barely ever necessary to release a Gunpla news episode.
Yeah, right. I remember that like they were doing like the monthly or bi-monthly P Bandai drop. Like we recently got the Otlinde.
Yep. The last time I did a Gunpla news episode was like 2 months ago, and that was just because since then we've had like 1 or 2 kid announcements.
Yeah, and it's because Shizuoka has like a massive drop.
Yeah. That I will say that last batch though they did a stream on, that was really cool. Like we're getting a high grade scope dog at retail. That's pretty awesome, you know?
And then the P Bandai expansion to go with it, extra nice.
Yep. That open cockpit.
Yep. And the trails, the trails for the roller skates, yeah.
I think 30-minute missions actually had that effect part, or something similar to it at least, in their option part line. So even if you don't want to get the P Bandai set, you can borrow some parts from 30-minute missions if you want to recreate that look.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we are basically done here. So yeah, that was a relatively quick build.
Yeah, that went together quick.
Yeah. Granted, I'm still gonna be touching it up, slathering the entire sticker sheet with UV reactive paint, but that's another story for another day. And
yeah, exactly. If like Kakarot does Gunpla News weekly, but he talks about like every random piece of crap with the Gundam label on it, and he'll be like talking about like frickin' like underwear and tuna fish and all this random crap, and I just don't want to do that. Like I want to talk about the things that people actually care about for Gundam. You know, the model kits, the figures. And like that, there's just so little to talk about with that it doesn't make sense to do regular Gunpla news episodes anymore.
Yeah, me neither. I kind of dropped the monthly recap just because of that. So, yep, I believe we basically ran out of things to talk about. So yeah, we can wrap up the streams. Don't forget to subscribe to Second Soundwave though.
Yep. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to both our channels. And had a good chat. Good hanging out with you.
Good hanging out with you too. And hopefully next time around, well, because we will be closer geographically, and maybe we'll get the whole bouncing avatar to actually work with further testing.
Yeah. What's the time difference between US and UK?
We are 12 hours apart right now, and I am 7 hours apart from the UK. So it's basically just gonna be 5 hours. It's basically an evening and afternoon difference, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, so like it's right now it's 12 p.m. for me and it's 5 p.m. in London.
Yeah, so it's not that bad, and the UK doesn't have different time zones, and the major head scratcher is just gonna be the daylight savings time. So that will take a little bit of getting used to, but we'll manage. Yeah. So maybe next time I stream, it will not be in this setup because this will all have to go. So this is basically a commemorative stream to just.
So are you getting like different streaming equipment when you move to the UK, or is it going to be the same gear?
Probably the same gear. I'm not sure because I'm still trying to figure out stuff. Because we do aim to ship the stuff in large boxes away when the Caliban drops. So I'm still trying to figure out. I'm probably gonna buy a smaller booth, but that's for recording reviews. But streaming, I might try to figure out something else, because it wouldn't be just this crappy room with a desk and just a light bar on top. It's gonna be.
What
something
are you using
different.
for a webcam?
A Logitech one.
Oh, you are using like an actual dedicated webcam.
Yeah, I'm actually using a webcam. So.
Yeah, I use a Cam Link because it lets me use the same camera that I use for my videos for my streams as well.
Yeah, I'll take more time looking into that when I have the time over there. So, yeah, probably next time I stream, it'll be in a completely new setup.
All right.
Yeah, so that's basically gonna wrap it up for the stream then.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
As always, I'm your co-host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time.
Yep, and I'll see you in the slate. Peace out, guys. Good night.
And